Yeah. I'm excited about the return of Grace Unfiltered.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. It feels a little bit overwhelming this week because you're like, hey, everyone get your phones and ask a question. So we have 19 questions.
19.
But the good is the first 17 we'll get through in about 5 minutes.
Right. I see.
Because they're nonsense.
Yeah, there you go. They are. Okay, you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, number one.
Yes.
Question number, what color is the rainbow?
Here's what's interesting. That's disputed because the first person to observe the rainbow was Isaac Newton, and he discovered it through the prism. And so he said that there were 7 different colors.
Okay.
And now the modern day example is 6 different colors. The issue is there's a discrepancy on how do you count the color blue, because Isaac Newton said you had blue, indigo, and violet. Well, now they just count blue and violet, and they don't count indigo. But some people count purple as violet, and so there's just a dispute on, is there 7 colors or is there 6?
Man, I did hear that. And some people choose 7.
Right.
And some people choose 6.
So the OG people choose 7.
Yeah, well.
Back with their man, Isaac Newton.
Yeah, well, because 7 is the number of completion, and there are no more.
Oh,
and 6 is the number of man, so then that's. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. Question number 2. How are you today? That was the question, for real. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great.
Good.
Question number 3. What? I don't know what that is.
That's a question.
What?
Question number 4.
Question number 4. What did sort coal?
I can only inference that I think that back in the day, my guess is human beings did. Now it's done electronically.
It is. Well, and they had the little carts to go with it too.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Now, question number 5. What is the question?
That is the question.
That is the question. Hey, so sermon on Sunday, question number 6. You referenced, the question is, which first lady do you like the most?
Shanta.
Shanta. Here's the deal, though, Josh. Shanta really is the only first lady. Everybody else is like you were talking about, Josh and Julie. It's, Erennial. It's Aaron and Neil.
Right.
It's one name, so it's Aaron Neil.
Yeah.
That's it. Question number 7. Where were your sandals? Where were your sandals Sunday?
I know that's so. I think Legacy
Sunday.
Grace Temple is starting to buy into what Legacy Grace Church is selling, which is when Josh doesn't wear sandals, something is wrong. Like there's a death in the family, or that type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I just own shoes.
We don't know that you own shoes. I know you own tennis shoes, but like dress shoes.
I know.
That got me.
Happens.
Yeah, it blew my mind. What color? Here's a good one. What color is missing from Skittles?
Blue. Simply because they're hard to make.
That you are absolutely right.
Yep.
Red is there. Did you know? Here's a little known information. The new Skittles taste totally different now than the Skittles tasted a year ago.
You're making it up.
No, I'm serious. Look it up. Google it right now. If you're listening, Google it right now. There's a totally different taste.
Well, Google it after we're done.
Yeah, after we're done. There you go, because then you'll cut us off. So where'd you get the coat? That was question number 9. Where did you get the coat?
Dallas. I did a wedding in Plano 2 years ago, and I needed a coat to match everybody else, so I just bought it at Dillard's on the way.
Wow. Do you do weddings in a robe or a coat?
I do weddings in whatever people want me to do weddings in. So I'm doing a wedding this coming weekend, and they said wear blue. So I said, okay.
That's cool. I'm going to find one. I'm going to go to Dillard's and find a coat.
Yep.
How tight was Josh's sport coat?
Well, you told him to ask that, and I think it's a normal size jacket. I just have massive muscles.
Well, it was a it was a slim cut. It was an athletic cut.
It was a cut for a normal sized person, and I'm an enormous bicepted.
Bicepted.
Bicepticles.
Bicepticles.
In my dreams.
There you go. We got a visual. Number 11. Why didn't y'all tell everyone it was, why didn't you tell everyone it was Neil's birthday on Sunday?
You see, I didn't know. For some reason, I do not know why. I actually had it on my calendar. Yeah. That's how I roll. That your birthday was next Sunday, October the 9th.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah.
But it's not. So we're all learning each other, because my birthday was
the 24th.
And you didn't know that till probably the day.
Like the day before. Because, it did pop up on my calendar.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. But I still missed it because I said happy birthday
Well,
on
and
Friday.
we're just like everybody else, we're getting to know each other,
There you
and
go.
so I didn't know it was your birthday till that day. I was like, oh, it's your birthday, like I had it wrong. And then once I make a plan and I have it on a sheet of paper,
Yeah.
my brain follows the plan, and so your birthday was not on the sheet of paper for me to follow, so I just didn't tell anybody.
That was good because I don't do a lot of
Yeah, me
celebrating on my
neither.
birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, does Bishop really sleep in a 3-piece suit? That was one of the questions.
He does not. He does wear 3-piece pajamas though,
Exactly.
with cufflinks.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, with his initials on them.
Of course.
There you go. I mean, didn't have initials, they wouldn't be.
It wouldn't,
his.
yeah.
Does Josh wear socks with his dress shoes?
I did not on Sunday because it makes me feel like super young and hip.
When you don't wear socks?
Yeah, because everyone that's young and hip doesn't wear socks with their dress shoes and their pants are like 5 inches too short.
That's true. And we used to call that flooding, not flooding, but flooding.
Flooding.
Back in
Right.
the day. What color is the sky? Here's another rainbow sky question.
Right. Well, this has to do with what's called diffused sky radiation. And so what happens is the radiation from the sun comes down through the sky.
Right.
And most of the colors are diffused through the perception of our eyes in the chemical mix of the sky, and what comes through is that bluish violet color. And so, for example, if you have a red ball, for example, what's happening is all the colors are diffused off of that ball except for the red, and so our eyes perceive it to be red. The same is happening with the sky. All the other colors dissipate except for that bluish violet.
And that's why it looks like it's changing colors if it's coming from
Absolutely.
the sky. Like
And
a
it also-
baseball or a tennis ball.
Right, and
it's a different
and
color.
also if you have some sort of pollution in the air, or if you have the night sky or the morning sky, because of the different things that are in the air, we perceive it to be a different color.
That's right. That's why it's frustrating when you want to take a picture of certain things and the picture looks one way, then it looks like with
Absolutely.
the human eye.
Yep.
That's real good stuff. Hey, here's a real question. Not that those others weren't real. But
No, we're
here's
starting to
another
get
one.
into the real questions.
The deeper
Yeah.
questions. Will we always have 2 services at Grace United?
I do not know.
I know, but that's a heck of a question.
The answer to most of these questions is I do not know.
I do not know. Maybe. Could be.
Maybe. I think that we could easily go to 3 services.
Yeah, we eventually will.
I think
at some point.
I think the only way we go to 1 service is if this thing fails miserably.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it will.
Yeah, no,
So the question
no.
is not will we start shrinking back to 1 service, because if you saw 2 weeks ago, we simply can't handle those numbers. And we want to make room for people to be a part of what God's doing here.
Yeah.
So I can imagine us going to more than 2 services, but probably not less.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a real good question because somebody asked me that not too long ago.
There you go.
Hey, so I'm a resident of Maumelle.
Right.
I did not ask this question, but I
Okay.
did tell somebody to ask this question.
Sure.
Of our life groups, is there a Maumelle life group?
There is not right now, and it simply comes.
I thought there was one.
No, there's not.
Okay.
Because what it comes down to is every group needs a leader.
That's true.
Every group needs a
That's
leader.
true.
And so we did have someone sign up to be a host site for a Maumelle Grace group.
Right.
We did not have anybody to sign up to be a
Leader,
leader.
teacher, yeah.
And without a leader, you have no group. So if you are in Maumelle and you want a Grace group in Maumelle, which I think several people do,
Yeah.
we have a site. You don't have to have them at your home, but we do need someone to say, I will take the responsibility to guide this group under the the leadership of the church, and we will soon have a Maumelle Life group
That's gonna
if
happen.
someone steps up.
There you go. And
Simple
we're
as
waiting
that.
on them. So how long? This is not a question, but this is a Neil question.
Yeah.
I didn't get to submit it on the app. So how long? So Grace groups are going on now. They start this week, actually.
Right. They do normally in a normal year when you're not starting a church.
Right.
They start the week after Labor Day and they go up to Thanksgiving in the fall.
Right.
Because we started the church, into September.
Right in the middle of
It's
it.
just October through again before Thanksgiving, because December gets really busy for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we'll pick up. We have a winter session in January and February, and then a spring session in March, April, and beginning of May, and then summer. We kind of take off small
regroup.
groups so everyone can kind of pick themselves back up and get energy again.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Hey, here's another question.
Yeah.
Question 17.
Oh.
When Paul calls them weak or strong, that sounds like it's saying one group is worth less. Talking about the reference of the sermon in Romans. Can you clarify how we are weak or strong? That's a good question.
It is a good question. And before I go to the biblical text, let me go to our culture. Okay?
There you go. Okay.
Because in our culture, to criticize anyone for anything or to say anybody is wrong about something is in our culture's mind to reject them completely.
Yeah.
So
that's canceled. That's the
cancel
root
culture,
of cancel culture.
right?
Yeah.
The root of cancel culture. And so, I hear a little bit of our culture in this. That if you look at me and you say I'm weak at something, then you're rejecting me. You're saying I'm worth less. And I would simply say that doesn't work in real life, and it doesn't even work in our lives. So for example, I have children. I have 4 kids.
Right.
And all of my kids are immensely worthwhile to me. I would literally lay my life down for any of my 4 children.
Yeah.
And yet, as a parent, I'm called to saying, you know what, you need to work on this because you're not good in this area.
Yeah.
I expect you, as a co-pastor to me, to, if you're my friend, if Neil is Josh's friend, to say, you know, Josh, I love you so much, and because I love you, I'm struggling here. I have a question here. I think you need to work on that a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what Paul is saying is simply that each one of us has appropriated the gospel in some areas of our life stronger than other areas.
Yeah.
In some areas, Neil is stronger than I am at taking the gospel and applying it to his life. In some areas, I'm stronger than Neil at taking the gospel and applying it to my life. Yeah. And in very simple ways, if you think of it like this, let's talk about sin for just a second, really quickly. Okay. When it comes to drinking, some people can say, you know, the scripture says, do not get drunk with wine. Mm-hmm. But it clearly says you can drink. Exactly. And they can go out and they can drink and not get drunk. Right. Some people say, you know what, if I get close to that line, I'm going to fall over that line.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Other people if there is something questionable in a movie, either like say nudity or sex or something like that, some people say, you know, I can go through and watch a movie and not cross the line, and that's okay for me. Yeah. And some people are like, if I hear there's nudity, if I hear there's sex, I'm out because I'm weak in that area. Yeah. So that doesn't mean a person, to say someone is weak and strong, I think is a fallacy of our current culture to say, if I say you need to work on any part of your life, it's a rejection of you as a complete person.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that in itself is the weakness of the culture.
It's a massive weakness of the culture because our culture sees as loving to not speak into or encourage people in their weaknesses, whereas any boss, any parent, any loving friend knows it's the exact, like if you are a loving friend to your friend and if they are crumbling in some areas or if they're struggling, you have to go to them and you have to say, look, we want to help you and speak into your life.
Yes, that's good. And that's an awesome question too. Yeah. Here's question 18, almost to the end. Can we remind each other of these truths each week?
My immediate answer is yes. It's called church.
Yeah. That's it. That's how we do it.
It's called grace groups. It's called grace group. I come every week, and this actually goes to the week strong. So let's go back to the previous question. I come every week, and one of the areas that God has built me to be strong in is the interpretation of the Word. Yeah. Preaching, teaching. He has built my mind, my skill set for that. Yeah. I come here every week, and Cordell and Jessica and Marcus and the team literally lift my spirits every week. Yeah. So that by the time I get on stage, I am filled with joy and my tension releases because I'm with the body of Christ, and they remind me of the Lord's goodness and the Lord's grace, and that we're one. And so, it's called coming to church. Yeah. That's, we might preach on this every week, but simply by showing up and giving of our time, of our money, of our energy, we're doing that.
Yeah, and the greatest sermons that I get, I think we get fed by a lot of different things. I get fed just by people. Yeah. Just by the mere fact I'm an only child, so maybe that's why I do. I don't know where it comes from. Hey, here's a big one. Can you contextualize? I learned that word in seminary, paid $69,000 for it. Can you contextualize a little bit more practically what altering our life would look like in today's world so that we can better accept others as Jesus accepted us? You know what? We had this conversation at home. Aaron and I were having this conversation. How do we alter our lives so that we can be more accepting, just as Christ accepted us? That was, man, that's, some practical things that we can do.
So, I mean, the ultimate answer is, and it's going to seem generic, I'll give you specific examples in just a second of what I've seen. But the ultimate answer is simply this: what is God calling you to do? And I know it sounds so generic, and it sounds so like mystically pastory thing. But the reality is, I mean, because I want to start there, because the reality is that if you listen to Jesus, like you sit down and you get into his word and you pray, you say, Lord, I want to be accepting just as you accepted me. What are you calling me to do? Then ultimately that's the answer, right? Because your path's going to be different than my path. But some examples of this, I'll start off easy, and then maybe we'll go from there. So, for example, my wife and I adopted, and I'm not setting us up as this. I'm just saying this is our example. My wife literally said, "I want to alter the trajectory of my life." And even though we can still have biological kids, we said we're going to stop doing that and alter our lives so that we can bring people in. Money, giving your money away to the church, to missions, to organizations. You are saying, I'm altering my financial life in obedience to God, so that people at Grace United can find acceptance through Jesus. People at Immerse Arkansas or The Call can find acceptance through Jesus. That type of thing. So a lot of us don't alter our money lives, which we know Jesus says that's can show you where your true heart is.
That's right.
So money is a big one. One that I saw recently is that one of the friends of mine has employees. And they're a believer, and they lead their company as a believer, but it's a secular company. And some of the believers that came into that worked for them found out that another individual at the company was on the LGBTQ scale spectrum, and they said, you know what, you're a Christian, I'm a Christian. They're not living like those shit. It's them or me. Like you can't, you can't, like you're toeing the line, whatever, blah blah blah. And so my friend and I talked about it, and they said, you know what, I'm gonna lose the Christian. Like you're out. Like because accepting everyone. As Christ accepted me is more important than the rules that and so
well, let me jump in here.
Yeah,
so
please.
Acceptance and validation are two different things.
As we went back to question number 15.
There you go. Acceptance and validation are two different things before people take a piece of it and run with it. But I just wanted to jump in there. And
no,
say,
absolutely. To say if it comes down to saying I love you, or we have to reject people through X, Y, absolutely. Well, and that's the problem with our culture is to say if I have to agree with everything about you in order to accept you. Here's the deal. One of the things I've always said about at Legacy Grace Church, and I hope it's true about Grace United, is I said I hope we get in trouble for the same things that Jesus got in trouble for. If people are looking at us and accusing us of the same things that they accuse Jesus for, then we're doing well. If they accuse us of the opposite things of Jesus,
then we're missing the mark.
Then we're missing the mark. So what religious people consistently looked at Jesus and they said, you are a friend of sinners. And because you're a friend of sinners, we can't be friends. And so if religious people are looking at Grace United and looking at the people that go here and say, you are a friend of sinners, and I question the validity of your church because of the people you associate with, That's a win for me.
That is.
Like that's a W. Now, if they start looking at Grace United and saying, well, as long as you kick all the sinners out, well, then we just need to close the doors.
There you go.
Because I'm the chief of sinners.
Yeah.
You're behind me.
Yeah.
And then Bishop is not a sinner, but the rest of us are.
In a three-piece suit.
Yeah.
In pajamas or, whatever. But it's, I mean, I'm telling you, it is, that sounds like that when you're in the drive-thru on the phone with somebody and they have all that. That's kind of cool. Let me just say this. When you talk about altering your life, it spoke directly to me as it relates to vocation. Because if God is calling me to maximize the call that he has on my life, not that big, and I don't want to use the word call like standing behind a podium and all that, but just whatever that call actually is, it will allow me to, I'm going to make some folks mad. I'm going to frustrate some people. But at the end of the day, I am going to be the most, I don't even know what the word is, the most perfect whatever that creates unity and confusion all at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if we don't create attention, because Christ created attention, attention and tension. Both of them.
Absolutely.
Both of them.
If you read the Gospels, Jesus, every room that Jesus walked in,
he shook it up, man.
Tensions erupted. As C.S. Lewis pointed out, like you either love Jesus or you hate Jesus, but you never meet Jesus and just go,
yeah,
right.
You
either fall at his feet and say, "You are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life," or you get infuriatingly mad and say, crucify him in your heart, in your mind, in your theology, in your life. Crucify him. I want that dead so that I can live.
Yeah.
Or you say, that lives so I can die to myself and live for him.
Yeah. And he alters himself to say, you know what? I know you're screaming at me. And he totally changes his voice and says, you know what? But I still love you anyway.
All day long.
And I climbed up on the cross and died for you. That's major. Dude, Grace Unfiltered is back.
It's back.
I'm so excited.
Good.
I'm so excited.
We are
Every Wednesday, we push
Wednesday,
it out.
I think so.
Every Wednesday, we push it
We're
out.
making it up.
Yeah. There you go. We're making it up as we go along. Get the app. Download the app. We'd love to see you in the building or online at Grace United whenever we're here. Sundays, 9 a.m., 10:45. Grace Unfiltered every week. So happy to be here, Josh.
All right, Scoggins. See y'all next week.